Good morning. It's Sunday, August 23rd, 2020, and I'm speaking to you from my office after having spent time this week tuning in with my guide, Iliadne. I'd asked her, what would she say about what we have been doing as a Council of Women over this past year? Over 2 days this past week, she gave me her answers, and I've decided to share them with you in the form of a slideshow using a lot of Deborah Koff-Chapin's soul cards as background. I'll start the screen share now so that you can see this. We began last year with the Art of Being a Woman webinar series, and then continued with some councils. Some of you were also part of the earlier Crone series. You know that I trust Iliadne's perspective, but I also hope that these thoughts serve as a reminder about the sacred work that we accomplished during our time together. Iliadne indicated that there were 6 areas worthy of observation and integration. Creating the container for the sacred feminine is a holy commission to undertake in these times. While personal growth can and does occur in and between the sessions, it is not the primary focus or purpose of this work. The container is like a virtual temple space for the intermingling of spirit and matter. It is a womb for new consciousness. It is not a safe place for the ego. If it was, that would indicate a fatal crack in the container. Each woman learns to surrender, easily or awkwardly, within such a container, including you, Andrea, so that Sophia's energies can be held again with respect, and so that she can penetrate and flesh out human consciousness once again. This is the overall purpose of such work. And while your attention is focused on personal tasks, conversations, and experiences, this other subtle penetrative work is going on, not just in the actual sessions, but throughout the entire time. A spider web is a good image for this type of container. There are the apparent threads, but there's also the articulate space between the threads, revealing an emergent matrix. The matter of each of your consciousnesses has been utilized to create this web. More could be said about that at another time. For now, it is the recognition that the container holds, defines, and contributes to the shaping of consciousness, spirit, and matter for purposes beyond your immediate understanding. It was your soul that called you into this container, not your mind, your ego, or your perceived needs. And it was your soul that held you committed through this time to what was forming of Sophia's presence and voice in and between each of you. A sacred container invites and heats up through resonant intimacy. Containers created with such intention are not primarily teaching spaces. What is learned emerges in much more subtle ways, through resonance, through shared tuning, where the body-soul recognizes truth and a way forward long before the mind can grasp what's happening. Resonance in this dimension requires variable degrees of intimacy, not a collapsing into each other, neither a distancing detachment. Through the pods, the webinars themselves, and the breakout rooms, you all developed your ability to cultivate new frequencies of intimacy that reference and resonate with the temple container. To the degree that you are each conscious of this quality of intimacy and have begun to embody its innate etiquette, boundaries, rhythms, and forms of expression, you become temple bearers in your daily lives. A casual meeting with a friend can open unexpected depths because you have a new reference in your body soul to draw upon. In a challenging interchange, you can access a portal for wisdom and guidance to flow in the moment, providing resources that you might never have thought of before. This is living inspiration, gathered not by applying certain teachings, but by being in Sophia's crucible for long enough time to begin referencing what is true and resonant at your core, and for you to also discern what is false. The third element worthy of consideration is the stability such a container offers during increasingly unstable times. Again, the purpose of the container is not to serve as a kind of virtual bomb shelter, keeping everyone who's inside safe while the rest of the world suffers. A better image would be a womb. This image places the container within the body, alive and connected, as a safe place for the developing embryo, Sophia's presence in this realm, our burning world. In this analogy, the womb is connected to the larger body of humanity and creation, but particular attention, energy, and resources are directed to the womb so that the new life can grow and thrive. When such a womb space is consciously created and maintained over time, the mystery begins to take hold in the psyche in ways that each of you are implicated and responsible for. The phrase implicated and responsible for is the fourth consideration, but save this until tomorrow to explore. This is a good beginning. Understanding these 6 points is like holding up a mirror to your individual and collective process so that you can truly see what has happened during this time in and around you. The next morning, I tuned in. It was August 20th. When the soul recognizes and responds by signing up to participate in a course like this, one where the intention is rooted in Source, Sophia, each person is actually making a commitment to themselves, a commitment that is potentially more binding than to the group. It is this inner commitment that becomes the trail into your own mystery. You're not following some leader. You're trailblazing in the woods of your own psyche, bringing the light of who you are into a safe space where it can be held with love and respect. Many of us did not get this quality of witnessing when we were young, but at the same time, we learned to care for and protect others, even when we needed this for ourselves. The temple place is a place of healing, focused not so much on examining our wounds, but rather on allowing the light to be protected and fanned into a fuller radiance. We do this by witnessing each other, stretching our hearts to open and receive who they are, different, yet another part of who we are in our most expansive, radiant expression. As we do this stretching, our capacity to love increases, and with this comes wisdom. Wisdom flows effortlessly on the breathing tide of love. True wisdom cannot be contained solely in the mind. It rises unbidden and sometimes with gentle astonishment when the heart is open and the climate of sacredness is thick with Sophia's presence. As women, we take this responsibility to bear the task of loving and letting wisdom flow into and through us as a sacred commission. Remember, I said it was your soul that called you to participate. And it is your soul that takes greater and greater liberties with your body and your mind as you may remain present within the container, allowing yourself to become who you are, but did not know yourself to be. Coming to know who you are was introduced when each of you listened for your name, she, who, and you filled in the blank. Your intuition gazed into the timeless moment, focused, and drew forth truth. Then you began to live into that, becoming familiar, if not immediately comfortable, with what your heart already knew and your deep listening revealed. Listening to your own soul is your entry into the soul of the world. You cannot bypass this portal. It's only through the very specific and particular coloration and patterns of your psyche that your deepest listening has agency in the world. Within this act, which you have done throughout the sessions, each time you journaled, went into meditative silence and found your way to source, when you listened to a sister open her heart and speak truth, when you faced a humiliating, painful part of your psyche, each of these moments have given you opportunities to welcome and appreciate who you are, your unique gold, your particular passions, your unprecedented gifts, your power and purpose that serves life. Within these months, all of this has been kindled in you. Now, you have a responsibility to protect this inner flame, to let it warm you, yes, but also to flare through you as a burning passion to light your world. These are familiar words and ideas, but I share them with you now because they are rooted in your actual experience, the bedrock of your own lived and witnessed truth. That you must not turn away from, deny, diminish, or ignore. Moving on from this time, how will you burn? How will you live a life of conscious passion in a way that has no obvious precedent. You know how to settle back into yourself, how to open to source by becoming still, letting yourself be drawn to whatever is calling your soul, and to creatively be with this inspiration. You know you are not alone in your hunger for truth, for wisdom, for love, and you know how to reach out, both to give and to receive this. You know in times of confusion or despair that there is a way through, a way into the sacred well where calm and clarity reside. You also know the resonance of truth when you hear it, from your own voice or another's, and you also know the hollowness of falsehoods and half-truths. You are aware of the high cost of settling for, putting up with, or going along with the high costs that these have upon your body soul. And yet, with all this knowledge stirred awake in you, you still have choice. It's always an option in any moment to go back to sleep. The ways to do this are many and well trodden, while the ways of the unfolding mystery are less defined. These months have been a pioneering time for all of you, including Andrea. As one of you stretches, there is more space for all. These are some of the living effects of the temple work you undertook together. Once this time is completed, the temple space remains lit and alive in you. How will you carry this light? How will you protect and nurture the flame that you are? These are the questions you must carry in your heart as you leave this womb and re-enter the burning world. And I leave you with this, with my love.